and welcome to episode 4 of Why Is This a Podcast? Wish I could say that it's a pleasure. Very few things are a pleasure during these troubling times. Usually, as you know, I just dive straight into the interview. This week, I do just want to address the fact that since we last recorded, the global death toll due to the COVID-19 pandemic has surpassed 1 million. A milestone that doctors, scientific experts, and anyone with a soul or a brain, or both, have described as bad. It's a catastrophic failure of leadership that a number of deaths that could have been prevented have happened. And I know people will say, well, other diseases kill more people. There are certain things that kill more people than toasters in bathtubs. That doesn't mean that I go throwing toasters into people's bathtubs. The fact is, these diseases are, many of these deaths are preventable and could have been prevented with better leadership from governments across the globe, and they weren't. So, my condolences to the loved ones of those who have died due to COVID-19. My heart is with you. Um, to those who are still sick, to those who have lost their jobs, to people who are facing so much and experiencing so much anguish and anxiety. I wish there was something that I could do, but beyond sending you my thoughts, keeping you in my heart, there's very little I think I can do. But I am going to just do one thing, and that is to encourage the people watching who are in a financial position to afford to donate to the COVID-19 Disaster and Recovery Fund. I think that's what it's called. I'm sure someone in the comments will correct me if I'm wrong. It's the WHO, the UN Joint Relief Fund. They're appealing for donations. Or if you don't donate to that, donate to maybe a charity that works on helping people who are especially vulnerable during this crisis, those facing domestic abuse, those with mental health needs, those experiencing homelessness, food insecurity, many more. It's just whether the people in power act like it or not, we are in this together. So if you can afford to donate, please just think about it. Welcome to the show. I've got a great one for you, I hope. My first two guests are a father and son duo of entrepreneurs. They're the co-owners, founders of JIT Comms. Joining me from Wales, they're my colleagues as well from Baird CMC and Hyderus Taranta. It's great to see them both. Cameron Jones and Darren Jones, welcome. Welcome. Nice to see you. Thanks for being here.
Oh, pleasure to be on your podcast, Kerean. Thank you for asking us.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yeah, it's been difficult to get guests, so.
It must be.
So my first question, I think it's the one that's on everyone's mind, is which one of you's the father and which one of you's the son? I've never been able to figure that out.
I was very young having Cameron, so I did have hair before.
Well, with the things that you can do now with like Zoom calls, you can put backgrounds in. You could put a background in, Darren, where you've got hair.
Yeah, I should have given myself a fringe again, maybe.
Or an afro.
Yeah, well, an afro, yeah.
It's good, like I said, it's good to have you both. I mean, JIT Comms, just introduce the company to our viewers, I suppose, first of all, and what inspired you to set it up, what services you offer. I don't know which one of you wants to go first. Maybe you could have a duel to decide.
Yeah, of course. So, Cam, if you don't mind, I'll kick off, and then you come.
Yeah, of course.
You know probably better than I do, but I can certainly tell you sort of where it started. And Cameron and I have sort of different skill sets. So I was already doing, as you know, Kerean work with JIT CMC, a lot of project management work through my own independent company, DGC Consultancy, sort of managing the global projects. So for a long time, I've been working remotely and working with customers and clients on a remote basis, you know, to manage their projects for them. So I've got sort of that experience behind me and the management experience in previous roles. Cameron is sort of very, very naturally on the technology side, very hands-on also. So he can put his hands to anything. So
Makes me feel very inadequate, Cameron.
To the point, Kerean, if there's any DIY jobs need doing around the house, I ask Cameron rather than do it myself, because I know it's going to be a better job. So, and with Cameron also working for a communications company and supporting their IT infrastructure and training, we had quite a good combined skill set, if you like. So when the pandemic hit, we sort of seen it as an opportunity to support companies and home workers, because, and you've probably experienced this yourself, you know, trying to operate as effectively from home as if you were in the office can bring it, you know, can bring a lot of challenges. And I think a lot of companies wasn't prepared for those kind of challenges. You know, Cameron and I dealt with one of Wales' largest companies, and we found that sort of a generation of their workforce were not used to working on a laptop or a tablet. You know, outside of working hours, they come home and you know, they don't want to be on a laptop or a tablet. They were used to going into the office environment, working on a desktop PC with a structured system, you know, and they knew exactly how to use that system. So put them then in a home environment, give them a laptop and say, right, well, we've not got our usual systems to work to, so we've got to kind of, you know, do the best we can to keep operating. It was alien, you know, it was really alien to them. So initially, JIT Comms was born from us supporting these home workers and businesses who just needed that support in terms of how to operate effectively from home. You know, we spoke to some senior managers who found it hard to manage people remotely. You know, they wasn't used to it. So it was long gone are the boardroom days where you could cuddle everyone in the morning, you know, set out the actions for the day, you know, and have these team meetings. It went from that to literally managing remotely, and that was difficult for a lot of people. So
I want to kind of come in on that, because I think a lot of people, you know, they frame the kind of the working from home dilemma as, well, not dilemma, but they say, oh, the issues of working from home is your kids are there and you've got to look after the kids while you're working. And
you may have heard mine in the background then, actually, as the office door.
I did, and I won't hold it against them. No, but I think that you raised like a very, very good point there, that like a large part of the problem is that you maybe have so many people who aren't used to working from home. They're not used to using technology, maybe the kind of technology that we need to work from home effectively outside of the workplace, that it's a learning curve, that it's a learning curve that we definitely weren't prepared for. I mean, I think Hyderus, Taranto and JIT CMC, which, as I mentioned, I should say in the interest of full disclosure, Why Is This a Podcast is not produced by JIT CMC or Hyderus Taranto. It's an independent venture. I do just want to make that clear. But it is a very interesting point. So I want to kind of come to Cameron on this then, about services you offer to help people with this.
Yeah, sure. So at JIT, we offer a range of services, and because we offer such a diverse sort of menu, we've actually split JIT into 3 divisions: JIT CCTV, JIT Thermal, and JIT Comms. So JIT CCTV, we supply and install the high-end Hikvision CCTV and alarm systems. JIT Thermal is our solution to preventing the further spread of COVID-19 in the workplace. So we use the, again, high-end Hikvision thermographic imaging cameras which take the temperature of any employees or visitors' foreheads when they walk into the premises. And then we also have JIT Comms, which is the IT and communication side of the business. So we offer IT consultancy services, system support, project management, and telecommunications. But we also work with other companies quite closely so that we can widen those services. So we can then offer graphic design, public relations, and also electrical installation. So we work quite closely then with sort of partner companies in order to do that.
Yeah, and I think the pandemic, Kerean, is why we diversified so much. But we had to be careful because, as Cameron mentioned, we brought in a lot of partners because we was to the point where we was getting a lot of requests from customers and clients. But we could wear ourselves too thin, and the too many, too broad a range of services would just be difficult to manage. So hence why we focused on the three main areas.
And congratulations, by the way. Based on my understanding, you've had a very successful beginning to JIT Comms. I didn't realise that it wasn't JIT Comms. I didn't realise it was JIT Comms.
The JIT came from Jones for the J, and the IT, the obviously computer and IT. So that's where the JIT came from.
See, because you mentioned workplace safety, which is very, very, of course, pressing issue. I mean, obviously it was before the pandemic, but the pandemic, I think, has really kind of highlighted that, as you both well know, as I know. But do you see like a lasting effect on how we think about and how we handle workplace safety as a result of the pandemic? I'll go to Darren first on that.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think it certainly will have a lasting impact. Now, if you're talking health and safety to secure the workplace from COVID-19, then yes, it's affected our strategy and positioning. Hence the thermal image screening side of the business, which again came to us rather than us go out looking for it. We didn't sort of jump on the opportunity in a pandemic. That opportunity came to us.
I was going to say that would be evil.
It will.
Fact.
Exactly.
Shame on you.
No.
Opportunists.
Exactly. And we didn't go, like I say, initially was the IT support, and that came again naturally because we was doing it anyway. But because then all of this home working started because of the lockdown, again, it came naturally. And then we started speaking to the businesses who wanted the thermal screening, because they said, if we are going to open back up and we are going to encourage our staff to come back, we want a safe environment for them to do so. We've spoken to lots of people who have said, I'm really hesitant to go back to the workplace. I don't want to be in a lift with 5, 6, 7 other people. I don't want to be in an office. Yes, there's 2 meters distance spacing, but you've still got the communal areas, and how safe and how policed is it going to be? So I think
we don't know, and we still don't know so much about the virus. As far as I'm aware, we still don't know exactly how long it can live on a surface for.
No, that's right. There's still so many unknowns.
How long it can live in the air for? There's still
No, so I think there was a big hesitancy that businesses had to contend with their staff coming back, and I think the lasting impact will be, I personally think, about 20 to 30% headcount in office spaces will remain. I don't think it'll ever return to what it was. I think a lot of businesses will downsize their office capacity, reduce their overheads. If the home working is obviously producing equal results and the workers are working as effectively, why would you, I suppose? But
I can't remember who told me this, but they said that, purchasing for office spaces and like the major sort of centers of finance and finance and all those kinds of businesses, he said they've plummeted, they said, because employers have realised now, well, yeah, we can work from home now. It's cheaper. It's cheaper to work from home. It's more, in some ways, it's more efficient. It's more effective.
Yep.
So I want to go to you on that one, Cameron, because it's something obviously that you're very involved in, as well as, of course, your father. What are your thoughts on the workplace? Because obviously you're the youngest person here. Thanks for rubbing it in. So you're going to be in the workplace for longer, theoretically, than both of us. What do you think about it?
Well, I think it's definitely not going to go back to normal in the next sort of couple of years or so. But we say that working from home might be cheaper for companies, but in the long run, certainly it will be, because they obviously won't have to have all overheads. But myself and Darren has worked with companies, and they've had to go out and buy whole new laptops, systems for their staff to be able to work from home. So it's kind of swings and roundabouts, but that's where sort of JIT thermal comes into things, because at the end of the day, you can put all the rules and procedures into place in the offices, but are people really going to stick to them? Like, you still have staff rooms, toilets, and unless every surface is cleaned down after you,
exactly,
it's not going to be effective, is it? So obviously at the start of COVID, they said that one of the main symptoms is a high temperature. So by companies installing these thermal screening cameras, they can at least give their employees and visitors the reassurance that they are doing everything they can and that no one's bringing COVID in. Obviously, they don't rule out COVID completely, but
it could be asymptomatic, for example.
Yeah. But the company is then to be seen as doing everything they can.
It's a responsibility. Because I mean, if you've got, like, because they say the 3 ones: high temperature, dry continuous cough, fever. A dry continuous cough and a fever, you're going to notice. A high temperature, you might not necessarily notice. You could be in perfectly fine health otherwise.
Yeah.
I agree with you there. I mean, because when I go to church, for example, or if I go to like a medical appointment, I've got to have my temperature taken when I enter the building. Today, when I had an appointment on the day that I'm recording this, and the nurse who was due to see me, her prior engagement ran over quite significantly. So I said, I'm going to go outside just for a bit of fresh air. It's just like, it was basically so I could take the mask off.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if anyone's noticed, I've got a beard and it's very, very itchy. So I just went outside for some fresh air, came back, rang the bell. They said, right, just got to take your temperature. They've already taken my temperature. I said, yeah, but we've got to take the temperature of anybody who's coming into the building.
Yeah. Funny you say that, actually, because when we sort of started rolling this equipment out, we sort of made a frequently asked questions sort of page on our website. And one of the main questions we was asked was, what if employers either sort of find a way to heat their foreheads up, and then the camera detects a high temperature when really it's just a way to get out of work. But so after receiving those questions, we came up with secondary testing. So obviously, if they find a way to heat their heads up, because it can be done with heat pads, they put them on their heads, and they even hold a cup of coffee in front of the camera, and it's just detecting what it can see. So the secondary testing, then the companies can say, look, take a seat for 20 minutes. We'll then test you again.
The length some people will go to skive.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But they really are sophisticated, because they deploy them in places like train stations even. Whereas so the cameras scan, say 50 people in that that area, and it detects facial recognition if GDPR dependent, of course, but gives everyone's temperatures in that surrounding area. So they really are. But like Cameron said, if you come in and it did detect a high temperature, at least they got the ability to take you to one side before entering the workplace, the office, the factory, whatever. With everyone else, they can just get one of those sort of temperature guns and secondary test that way. So at least it eliminated, but at least it stops that person entering the main office or the main site, if you like. And it can also help for flu. Would you want someone with the flu and a high temperature was ill in your workplace? If they're ill, they shouldn't be there, and obviously they can pass on influenza as well as COVID-19. So,
which I mean, I think was part of the reason why I asked about the lasting effect, because we're all worried, of course, about COVID-19, but one of the things is there's so many other conditions that are infectious where a high temperature is a condition. And so like having this kind of rigor and this kind of attention to workplace safety and using technology in the innovative ways that JIT Comms is, and you two personally, of course, I think it's a positive development. I don't like to sort of try and see silver linings in a pandemic that, as I mentioned in the monologue, has killed more than 1 million people. But it is something that we can kind of use this moment, this event this hell that we're all collectively living in, and take lessons from it.
Yeah.
It's funny, and like I say, the divisions came naturally. Like I say, we didn't go out and set out to profit on the pandemic. We were doing the IT work anyway. But even on the CCTV side, on the residential installations, we found that's increased. Now, whether that's because more people are working from home, they now have more technology and equipment and at home, I don't know. But we've seen a sort of increase in the residential CCTV side as well. So I hope that's not a sign of there's more break-ins locally and the crime rate is going up. But
I would have CCTV installed on my property, but there's certain things that I wouldn't want recorded on camera. So there we go. Gentlemen, like I said, it's been great to have you both. I can't wait until the day that you're a Fortune 500 company.
I can retire earlier and let Cameron carry on.
When you become a Fortune 500 company, please don't forget the person who gave you free publicity. Cameron, do you have anything to add before I let you both go?
Not anything major. Maybe just quickly, I'll go over the plans for the future. So obviously we've mentioned the CCTV side of things a lot, and the commercial side of things. Obviously we're doing the commercial installs for the thermal cameras, but we're also going to look at expanding the CCTV side of things into more commercial environments. At the moment we do mainly domestic. We have done a couple of commercial installs. We've done a local pub and a local football club recently. But we're going to start offering a more larger scale installation, and then we'll move into access control as well. So, which again can be useful for when and if people do return to the office, because you can get sort of non-touch entry sensors, automatic door releases, etc. Then, so it again links in with the thermal side of things, because we're sort of enabling businesses to start reopening.
Well, I wish you both all the best. Absolutely great talking to you, Cameron and Darren Jones, the co-owners of JIT Comms. Find out more information about their company at www.jitcomms.com. I might get a thermal screening for my house so I can dissuade visitors.
Yeah. We can set the temperature as well. So if you wanted to put them off, we'll just
that's my fee for all the free publicity I'm giving you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you both. Thank you, gentlemen. Hope you enjoyed the interview. Thanks both.
Bye.
Kerean.